So something that I'm seeing a lot these days is this weird sentiment about reviews, reviewers, critics, and the quality of new media, such as movies and video games. Specifically, that critics are overpaid hack frauds, that anything that reviews poorly wasn't made for X demographic, and that a game that reviews lower than an 8 or a 9 on 10 is a poor game. Not to say that I'm the authority on this, but I feel the need to reach out to what limited audience I can, so that I can talk about this topic and hopefully open up discussion such that people won't fight battles that don't need to be fought. First, I'd like to look at a specific case, the Suicide Squad movie. Full disclosure, I haven't seen it and I won't make a judgment on it, but for the record, it has reviewed poorly, and reviewers whose opinions I respect have reviewed it poorly, and as such, I don't intend on watching it. Anyway, the movie has reviewed like a pile of garbage, and DC fans are getting uppity. With things like petitions to shut down review aggregation sites, and banter between reviewers and fans on Twitter that grows into aggravated bickering, one would think that there are better lines to draw in the sand. There seems to be this idea that the film was made for the fans, and that the critics have no right to have an opinion on it. There is some merit to a film being taken in the context of its intended audience and such things like the time period it was in, and the circumstances around which it was made. I feel like Suicide Squad doesn't get to have that excuse, however. First off, the idea that someone can't critique something based on it not being made for them is ignorant as all hell. A film is a film, regardless of who it's for, and it should be reviewed as a film. It should be praised for its intention, and how well it executes on that intention, as well as judged by the merit of the film, of the merits of film in general. What I mean is that a movie can do something new or odd and still have it work out because it was executed well, as well as have the inverse situation where a movie with a solid premise or idea falls flat because it was made poorly. Every piece of media, film, show, book, or game, or otherwise, has a careful balance of intentions, methods, execution, and result. If any part of that is out of balance, then it will be judged based on how well it works within the confines of the others in this new balance. If it doesn't work out, then it will be reviewed poorly and seen by the Gestalt as a subpar piece of media. Back to the point, intention, including the audience as a piece of media is supposedly made for, matters as much or less than the other parts, most especially the resulting piece. If I made a show for children, and it's well written enough for an older crowd to see some value in it, then it's not an exception to a rule, but rather a solidly made product. See Steven Universe, ostensibly a kids' cartoon that deals with mature themes in a tasteful way and features genuinely well-written plot and characters. Media can be made for a specific crowd, this is true. But this doesn't preclude it from being judged by others. So to address people who say that Suicide Squad is for the fans, I have to say this. So what? No matter who it's for, it's still a film, and people who professionally review and critique films have every right to do so. This brings me to my next point. Reviewers are people too, and they have individual tastes, just like anyone else. I don't like superhero movies. If I were to review a superhero movie, it would be fighting an uphill battle, as it would have to overcome my dislike for the genre, and have redeeming qualities that allow me to see past the general problems that I perceive in the genre. This doesn't make me less qualified to review it than anyone who does like superhero movies, just means that we will value it differently. If a reviewer comes out saying that they didn't like a movie that you might have loved, then see the opinion, disagree, or even reconsider about some things, and move on. If you rely on justification through mutual agreement, then seek out fan communities and reviewers who have similar tastes. This brings me to my final point, the difference between it was good and I liked it. Sometimes well-made things are boring. You can recognize that it's well put together, and the pieces fit, but somewhere along the line, it just didn't hit the marks needed for you to like it. Sometimes bad things are great. You can see the cracks and flaws, and won't make excuses for them, but love them nonetheless. There are many things that fall into these categories for me. Kirby Robobot was the former, and Sonic Adventure 2 was the latter. Kirby was a technically proficient, good-looking, content-rich game. I hate it. It's too easy, it doesn't deviate enough from standard Kirby fare for me to stay interested, and hasn't anything that I can really sink my teeth into. Sonic Adventure 2 is a mess. It's ugly, even for its time, buggy, shaky, has bad localization and lip-syncing, and 2/3 of the missions feel really clunky and poorly put together. I will love that game forever. I played it when I was young enough to see past those flaws easily, and it was fun for what it was. Is it good? No. Would it review well for me? Absolutely not. But it has a charm I can't deny, and it will remain in my video game Hall of Fame. Neither of the preceding examples are any less valid than another view, and if people say that Kirby is good and Sonic is bad, I won't start liking Kirby, and I won't stop loving Sonic. Maybe it's harder for others, and I can understand being upset that others don't see the value in something that you do, but that doesn't make it any more right than they are, and that doesn't invalidate anyone else's views, professional or otherwise. Really, people need to see reviews just for what they are. Guidelines built on individual views and opinions that are supposed to give you an insight into how someone values a particular piece. They aren't binding contracts that determine the value of something, nor are they pointed insults meant to make you feel bad for liking something. They're opinions. If something reviews poorly, it's because the people who made the reviews don't like it. If the majority of people don't like it, then it's widely considered bad. That doesn't prevent you from liking it, it just means that others didn't. People need to stop getting hung up on the idea that liking something makes it good. I don't have much else to say, and at some point I'm sure I'll make a comment that seems as though it invalidates what I said, but I'm a human, so such things can happen without devaluing the ideas presented. Thank you for watching, and please try to have an open mind when looking at reviews.